Well, hi, and welcome back. And we wanted to talk this week about leaky gut, and particularly healing a leaky gut. We saw a video with Dr. Greger recently where he was talking about it, and it just reminded us how it's kind of been a term around health and healing and in the whole foods community for quite a while, but it's still in mainstream medical terminology and approach. It's not considered a diagnosis, like you have a leaky gut, therefore it's a problem. But there's a lot of research now that is validating that there's something that happens that we call leaky gut, and it impacts our health.
Yeah, and we're going to share that video of Dr. Greger, right?
Yeah, we'll give you a link to
so you'll
that.
get to see it.
So you can hear more about the research, which is really good. But basically, leaky gut is a term that's used to describe the lining of the small intestine becomes overly permeable. It gets damaged and it lets things through that it shouldn't. So like the small intestine is where the nutrients from our food are absorbed. And the lining of that small intestine is only one cell thick.
That is amazing.
It makes it, I can't believe how miraculous it is that something as delicate as that is such an important part of keeping us healthy, because if it's one cell thick, what holds those together is something they call tight junctions. There's like these tight junctions between these cells. And when everything's healthy and working well, it's perfect. It's like this wonderful filter that just lets the good nutrients in, keeps the stuff that we don't want in there out, and that's the way it's designed to function. But certain foods and lifestyle choices impact those tight junctions, and they break down. So it's kind of like these cells form this beautiful filter, or like a net, like a netting. And when we eat certain foods and do certain things, then some of those junctions between them get broken, kind of like a fish net, where you see some of the little breaks, or you look at a stocking, which is all fine, and then there's a run, so, oh, what happened there? So when the tight junction breaks down, it lets things through that are bigger and shouldn't be coming through. Things like food particles and that aren't fully digested, and herbicides, pesticide residues, those kinds of things. So when our gut lining gets compromised, then things start looking bad.
So how do we heal it? That's my main interest.
Okay, well, do you want to go to that, or do you want to talk about what the symptoms are a little bit so we can understand what kind of to look for?
Give an overview, but not a lot of detail
Okay,
about the symptoms.
so like, first of all, the common causes, I think it's good to look at that, is poor diet. So especially high in processed foods, sugar, sugary foods, alcohol. Another cause is chronic stress. Another is like what they call gut dysbiosis. We've talked about the microbiome in the past and how there's a healthy microbiome when it's full of these bacteria and microbes that are producing the good stuff. And if we eat in a way that doesn't promote the healthy bacteria, it promotes the not unhealthy bacteria, and we get this imbalance called gut dysbiosis, and that influences that lining in the intestines. Also, what was surprising from Dr. Greger's video is that things like aspirin and ibuprofen and antibiotics affect it. It's like, whoa, I never thought of that, but that's what the research is showing. And a couple of other things are excessive alcohol and things like gluten or dairy. Okay, so that's causes. Symptoms, things like brain fog, anxiety and depression can be influenced by a leaky gut. Digestive issues like irritable bowel or celiac. Immune conditions. This is the one that I think is most often associated with it, because when the lining breaks down and some undigested food particles get into the bloodstream, our immune system reads those as being enemies, not supposed to be here.
Yes.
And it starts to attack them. So we get this autoimmune condition where our immune system is attacking things in the body that aren't supposed to be there, which is good, but it's creating all this inflammation. And it shows up in things like rheumatoid arthritis, um, Hashimoto's, thyroid disease, even things like multiple sclerosis, MS. Yeah, so there's a lot of associated conditions with leaky gut.
Well, what I've noticed in watching people is often people develop leaky gut over time, eating high processed food diets, using alcohol, and living on the standard American diet with mostly processed foods or drive-through foods.
Yeah, high fat, saturated fat.
What it seems to create in terms of expression in everyday life is anger and victimization, feeling really down, like life is out to get me. So it's important to really shift this and do what's needed to feel good, because that's what we're designed to do, is to feel great, to really thrive. So how do we do it?
Yeah, how do we do it? So go ahead, did you have something?
Well, I was going to say it's so simple. It's what we're always preaching.
Yeah.
A whole food, plant-based eating with a wide variety of foods and organic. It's so important, because what about pesticides and herbicides? You mentioned that can be a contributing factor.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's one of the things that different protocols that are out there are encouraging. There are things to remove that they point out are the processed foods, alcohol, foods that would have herbicides or pesticides on them. And I know Dr. Zach Bush, who we love, has done a lot of research showing the immediate impact of even a small trace of the herbicide, how do you say it? Glyphosate,
Glyphosate.
which is the Roundup weed killer, how it immediately starts to loosen those tight junctions and break that net down to create the kind of problems that we experience with leaky gut.
So what foods in particular are really important?
Yeah, well, one of the things that they've been finding in the research is that particularly bitter foods, so the bitter greens would be things like arugula, mustard greens, dandelion greens. Bitter food is ginger. And the thing about bitter foods is that they apparently stimulate more digestive activity. So more saliva, more digestive enzymes, more acid in the stomach. So it breaks the food down more completely. So bitter foods are really great to add.
Well, that's what I'm always preaching, which Dr. Joel Furman is always preaching, the power of greens. Greens are so important, not only for nutrients, but for healing something like this.
Yeah. So the bitter aspect is good for the digestion. They also contain phytonutrients, these plant-based nutrients that help to reduce inflammation and actually heal those tight junctions. There are nutrients that actually tighten up the junctions in these foods.
Well, I've had a client, for example, when she increased her greens, she told me she immediately had more energy. And it's just that one simple thing of really putting the greens in the body can make such a difference on many levels, not only in our energy, but in our attitude, the way we approach everything in life.
I hadn't thought about it before, but the way you say that makes me see that lots of times eating the greens may not give us more energy, but if it's a healthier easier way for the body to get the nutrients it needs, then the energy it was using to deal with this leaky gut and the things that were getting into the bloodstream, and that all the energy it was using to deal with that suddenly now is available for doing other things.
Yeah.
So it kind of shifts our energy. We have so much energy, it shifts it to being able to do the things we want and a better attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And onions, you mentioned onions.
Yeah, yeah. I mentioned in our conversation before we started recording that onions are another food, anything in the onion family. Onions, leeks, scallions, chives, all of those.
Green onions
Green
too.
onions, yeah.
Yeah.
They have phytonutrients that tighten up those tight junctions, help heal the gut, reduce inflammation. So that's another one that's really good to pay attention to if you're having some of the symptoms of leaky gut.
Yeah, and if you want to look at how to really eat in a day whole food plant-based, you can go on our website. And where do they look for that
Under free
treat?
resources, yeah.
Free
Under
resources.
there's resources. It'll take you to the page, and there is a diagram we've put together of high nutrient dense foods.
Yeah, and what I love about it, it shows where they really are on the right side of the page. It shows the nutrient level of all different foods. And on the left side of the page, it shows you what to eat. So it's simple and powerful.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of doctors and nutritionists, food experts that have come up with a protocol for healing leaky gut. They call the 5 Rs, which is looking at what to remove, what to add in, that kind of thing. And what was interesting as I reviewed that was how our mantra, which is what? Eat a wide variety, organic, high nutrient dense, whole foods. It covers the whole process. I don't have to remember all these things. What do I remove? What do I add in? All this stuff. It's like, oh, I just stay with the whole foods, stay with organic, then I don't have to deal with the herbicides and pesticides issue. And it, yeah, kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, keep it simple. I love how powerful feeding the body the way it can thrive is on every level of our health, mental, physical, every level. So give it a go, or you can connect with us and we'll give you a free coaching session and you can begin this process so easily. Another great thing is Dr. Furman, Joel Furman's book, Eat to
Eat for Life is the
Life.
most
Yeah,
recent.
that's the one he's really recommending as his #1 book. He has so many scientific studies that validate what we're sharing with you. It's a great book. I think you would enjoy it. And recipe. So the recipe we had yesterday, so delicious. It was a millet black bean salad that you use as a main course or a side dish. We used it as a main course, and then of course we added cooked greens and cabbage with it. It was so delicious.
It really was.
And we had some left. We had it as part of our dinner meal too. So try that recipe. It's really worth fixing. Most delicious. Uses a lot of lemon. Yum.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us.